Hello there, good people. Hi, it's Jason with Green Country Agroforestry. Not so long ago, my friend Billy over at Pasture Farms put out a little video where he showed you what you could do with a postage size stamp yard. Unfortunately, Billy doesn't have a postage stamp size front yard, so he just had to mark it out with some lines so you can see the approximate size of the postage stamp front yard. This yard is a little bit larger. It's about 1,600 square feet, but it does qualify as being a postage stamp size. It is tiny. So we've planted bottle gourds on the east side of the house and put a wire across the top here. And that wire allows the bottle gourd to grow up and across the front, providing the shade screen. And of course, these bottle gourds. So right here, we've got, just right coming down out the steps, we've got a fig tree here. This is a hardy fig tree. It's grown a little bit extra this year so far. Maybe it'll produce fruit for us in a year or two. Of course, it's being overshadowed a little bit by a redbud, but that's okay. Ficus don't mind a little bit of shade. Down here at its feet, we've got mints. This is peppermint, and it is, boy, wonderful smelling and wonderful tasting too. Makes the breast nice and sweet. So if you want to give the cameraman or woman a smooch, you can. You can't watch this. Now down here, we've got a milkweed plant. This is growing here, and of course it's starting to produce side branches, which will eventually layer and produce an entire colony of milkweed. This is a spiderwort, which we got to start over here in the corner as well.
There's other examples of that.
Other stuff in here. A baby redbud is trying to get itself established there and there. We'll move these whenever they go dormant, because you don't want to move them right now. That would kill them. But when they become dormant, we'll relocate these to better homes. Maybe yours. All right, coming down this way, we have got, of course, redbud tree providing shade and shelter for Ricinus communis. This is a castor bean. It also is providing a trellis for this tomato plant.
The tree.
The tree is, yes. Yeah. If you look down here, this is a peanut. And the tiny little delicate yellow flowers indicate that it will be producing its nuts, its legumes in fact. They're not really nuts, they're a legume like a bean. They'll be producing those very, very soon. Alright, so it's late in the season and these ferns are all dying off, but if you look down at the base of it, that is an asparagus, and it's in the process of just multiplying itself right now this season. These were planted here last year. These are Martha Washington asparagus. Very, very common, ordinary asparagus. You can get them just about anywhere. But we planted those. They are absolutely delicious when you pick them fresh out of the garden. Once you've had fresh asparagus, you will never like the stuff in cans ever again. Now, of course, you've seen our fig tree, but have you seen the serpent? Well, here we've got a little piece of lawn statuary, the serpent right there. And yes, as a matter of fact, I have used this cane to crush the head of serpents before. Growing all around the ground here is a annual ground cover. These are peanuts, and we planted them about, as you can see, 1 foot apart in the areas where we want to establish a ground cover. The alternative is, well, this Bermuda grass that wants to grow in and take over everything. Well, we don't need Bermuda grass here. We have other things that we can grow for ground cover, like peanuts, for example. All right, let's head into the woods. As soon as you start stepping into the trees, you're going to notice that the temperature drops dramatically. And it's aided along by establishing surface water in various places under your shade. This here is just a bird bath that we've got a little bit of watercress growing in. And isn't that lepta minor? That's duckweed. So, oh, and some top setting onions that I decided I wanted to start. I just threw them in there and they'll start growing. But here we have surface water available, and in other places we have ponds where our little creatures can come along and hydrate themselves. However, the evaporation off of that comes up and is cooling off the area that's already being shaded by the canopy. under the canopy, we have another Ricinus communis here. Behind it is a log that I have prepared for growing lion's mane mushroom, and if it stays shady enough under here, we may, possibly as early as fall, begin seeing fruit out of it. Alright, now down underneath the canopy here, we also have a little tiny baby pecan tree right there. And that is a curly dock. We like to harvest this one for the greens. These are green even in the middle of the winter, and they make an excellent fodder. Now, speaking of other things that you can put in your pot, we are surrounded with food right now. Have a look over here to my left. These plants, which are going to put on their little flowers before too awful long, are Canna indica purpurea. If you're watching David the Good, he has a Canna musifolia, and the musifolia have this sort of green with a little bit of purple ribbing leaves, but they're that way on both sides. The Canna indica purpurea is predominantly purple on the top side and has that greenish color on the underside, and of course very, very thin ribbon-like flowers whenever they come out. These are a true canna. They actually do breed true, so whenever they flower, they produce seed. But what we really want these cannas for is down here underground. Here in Oklahoma, we have a hard time growing potatoes early in the spring because our cool season is so short. We can sometimes get away with growing them in the fall, but most of the time we get small potatoes, no potatoes. It just doesn't work out too well for us here. But the cannas produce rhizomes underground, about 5 pounds per square foot and about 4 square foot per plant. So there's 20 pounds, 40 pounds, 60 pounds, 80 pounds. And of course they fill you up really, really good and are on par with potatoes for a source of starchy calories. All right, speaking of calories, oh my gosh, what is this all around my head? These are pecans. Yeah, they're right here at eyeball level. Look at that. Isn't that something? So
it will get taller.
The tree does get taller, but right now we're at that point. Oh, you caught a side of it from behind, caught a side of this thing behind me, didn't you? The tree's at that point right now where, yeah, its branches are a bit low. But let's go ahead and move a little bit further and we'll talk about this beauty. This is another canna, but this one is a hybrid. And the flowers that it produces, although they're showy, and aren't they pretty? Flowers that it produces are not going to yield any seeds. So you can go ahead and pluck them and eat them as you like. They don't have much of a flavor, but they do go really well in a salad. And of course, you're going to cover them with your salad dressing, and they're going to taste like, well, your salad dressing. Just like a lettuce. It's just like a lettuce. No discernible flavor. Brilliant color. Great salad green. Pay no attention to the grasshoppers mating nearby, right? Oy.
Oh, sorry.
So let me take a moment to talk about our pest control scheme here. This is a bird feeder, and we fill it up with sunflower and safflower. We don't put any grass grain seeds in it. Grass grain seeds attract blackbirds. Blackbirds swarm. We don't want swarms. We want nice communities of birds, and mainly we get chickadees and cardinals and what else?
Some wrens, some bunting.
Some titmice.
Oh, titmouse.
Titmice. We get some wrens. The wrens aren't coming for the seeds though. They're coming for the companionship and of course for the bugs, because there's insects in the trees that the wrens like to eat. And so by providing the food source and the shelter that this tree provides, the surface water, we have a constant supply of little birds that want to come in here and take care of our pest problems for us. Purpose of the cane. Yeah, I did mention. Wait, I did mention it's a weapon against snakes, but also it's a useful tool for other purposes, including providing guidance and protection. Spare the rod, spoil the child, all that sort of stuff. It's not used to beat your children, by the way.
So that's...
Now, for a moment, we break into the sunshine once again, and
We'll try not to
behind me,
glare.
this massive plant. Look at how big this thing is. The cane is 5 foot. All right, so these are getting up there. These are called Jerusalem artichokes. Helianthus tuberosa. Yes, it's a sunflower. Helianthus, of course, is the helianthus. It watches the sun or follows the sun. And tuberosa, we know what that means. It's something that makes a tuber underground. So the Jerusalem artichoke, Helianthus tuberosa, makes a tuber underground, and that's what we eat, the starchy underground storage root. Here we have,
Sip carefully.
some
That's not sweet potato. What is that?
something that's kind of special growing here. This, oh, and look, we got flowers. We got more flowers right here. This is a Ha'ogen melon right here. Ha'ogen melon. So it's kind of like a cantaloupe, but it comes from Israel. Actually, technically, I think it came from Hungary first, and then it got taken to Israel by refugees. Also, just here in this spot where the sun breaks through. Look over here. Oh, see the little tiny flowers on this little tiny plant?
What is it?
This is a miniature pepper.
Oh.
It's a miniature bell pepper. It's a mini bell.
Hopefully it takes off. Get some
I
before.
decided to experiment. This is a kitty. This is a kitty. This is part of our gopher management system that is currently squishing my melons. Hi, Bill. Hi, Bill. You want to play, don't you? Well, you want to play. You always want to play. You want to play. Want to say hi to people? Look, Bill. Look, it's people. It's people, Bill. Look, it's other people. There are other people out there. The world does not revolve around me. Off you go. Oi. Okay.
Don't bite my ankle.
Just don't bite her ankle.
Ankle
Okay?
biter.
All right. Let me move that out of the way. These vines that I'm moving out of the way, of course, are sweet potato vines. So we got there, lots and lots of flowers. Ooh, more flowers on this one. Flowers on this one. So we're going to have, I guess, a cluster and combination of sweet potato and Ha'ogen melon here. But yeah, underneath our canopy, right here at the sunlit edge, we have sweet potato growing. What's that in the middle of them? Popping up through the grass that I need to weed. That's another peanut.
It's been 100 degrees, so weedy's kind
About
of
1,000,000 degrees.
been kind of behind. So I'm going to show you where the backyard looks like. Oh wait, you will see that in my video.
All right.
It's kind of scary. That's about as far as you can go.
This is about as far as we can go this direction. I do need to do some weeding here, but you can see our dahlias are still growing out in the front yard. These are dahlias, which produce an edible tuber. So this is yet another flower that produces an edible tuber somewhere, somewhere down underneath there. And earlier this year, I marked these with a little colored ribbon that you can see underneath there to let me know what kind of flowers they made. So I wanted to keep track of the flowers that they're making. And of course, there's more of that sweet potato growing through just everywhere. So if you look over my shoulder here, past, of course, the pecan with lots and lots of nuts down here at easy picking. Oh, grasshopper. You see Canna Australia. Nice bright foliage. We'll get a closer look at that here in a moment. And a huge Ricinus communis. That's the castor bean plant. They are toxic, so don't eat them, but they're excellent for chasing away rodents. This is, of course, the reason why we have them. So right here we have, it's not in fruit right now, and it's not in flower. It's already done with its fruiting and flowering. But this is Eleagnus multiflora, the gummy berry bush. And these are just delightful, tasty, loaded with vitamins, good stuff. The rock retaining wall here helps keep our soil building in, but also it provides a habitat for lizards, skinks, snakes, and other helpful critters that patrol this area. Ooh, right down here, where we have also planted lots of peanuts, a little daikon radish, and what is that? That's buckwheat right there. Now the front row of our garden, we've got some interesting stuff going on. Lots and lots of these daylilies. As you can see, this was already done. This one, little one down here, though, is just starting to produce because these are all different species of daylily. This one's Hemorrhacales fulva, classic orange, and this one down here is our little Stella de Oro that you usually see in people's yards. This is the shorter one that produces different colored blooms. I don't know what color these are. I won't know until it actually opens up. It could be yellow, it could be peach, or it might be one of the reddish plum colored ones. I just won't know. Of course, we've planted our ground cover mix all through here, which consists of mostly sunflowers, daikon radish, sugar beet.
Sugar beets are the prickly ones, I think.
There you go. And of course, buckwheat, like this example here that's still in flower. And oddly enough about buckwheat, whenever it's still in flower, it's also ready to harvest. So you can see all of the little seeds here on the underside that are ready to harvest. And apparently there's been a spider working in here as well. So then you can see all the way back into our forest here, pecan tree, feeder for the birds, the sunflowers that although we've collected the tops, we're still allowing them to serve as trap crop. All of the sweet potatoes here, there are 5 plantings of sweet potatoes. Each one's going to average about 7 pounds or so. So about 35 pounds of sweet potatoes. And of course, every now and then popping up through the sweet potatoes isn't just grass, but also things like the peanut, redbud trees, sage, cannas, about 20 pounds of edible rhizomes from the canna indica. These canna Australia, I don't know how they're going to turn out, but they produce just gorgeous, showy, ruffly flowers like the yellow-orange one that I ate earlier. And as you can see from the leaves, solid, red, and almost completely solid on the bottom. But kind of like our canna indica, they have a lighter color on the bottom. But look at that dark red. Yep, and our potatoes are sneaking out underneath, even over here.
Oh. And we're going to go sneak back inside. Yes.
And we're going to sneak back inside to the shade and cool off a bit. Hey, that's all I've got for you today, good people. I hope you found the video informative or entertaining, and if you did, you know what to do. I'll catch you next time. Until then, get out there.